Wednesday the 14th of April 2021. I believe Steve Hallard has a little bit of information about today's meeting. If you could bring him in now, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon, members. Yes, thank you, Chairman. Just to say that I'm aware of the question with regards to holding of meetings during the period of national mourning following the death of His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh. The question essentially being whether days of national mourning can be counted in the statutory period of holding a meeting. Just to reassure members that we've taken external legal advice from specialist local government solicitors on this point. Their clear advice is that councils remain able to hold meetings during the period of national mourning. In summary, the basis of the advice is that the relevant provisions of the Local Government Acts, which set out the days that can't be counted, apply only to days which are appointed for the purpose of a public holiday. Although we're in a period of national mourning, it's intended to be a period of respect rather than a public holiday. The guidance issued by central government is clear at paragraph 10 that all public services will continue as usual throughout the mourning period, and neither is there any intention for shops, banks and normal services to be shut down. There's therefore no intention for the period to be a public holiday of the type referred to in the Local Government Act, and therefore the advice is that we are able to hold meetings during the period of the national mourning. Hope that's helpful, members.
Yep, thank you for that. And on that note, members, I'm sure you will support me in offering our condolences to Her Majesty the Queen and the royal family on the sad passing of His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh. Please, members, can I ask that you join me in a minute's silence as a mark of respect? Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'll now hand back over to Democratic Services for the start of the meeting.
Thank you very much, Chairman, and thank you very much, councillors and members of the public that join us at the full council meeting on April the 14th. Just to confirm that this meeting is being recorded and a copy of the recording will be made available on the council's website within the next 2 working days. If there is a technical problem with the meeting today, we will seek an adjournment just whilst that's resolved and recommence at a suitable time. But hopefully everything will work fine for us today. Can I ask members of council, if you do wish to speak at the meeting, if you could please use the messaging facility. It's not always possible to see the hands when they're raised, and we'll try and keep them on there and get everybody be able to speak in the order that they appear. Thank you very much. And just to say that the meeting format today will be as per the agenda pack that was sent to you. Thank you very much. I'm going to now hand over to the Deputy Monitoring Officer, Mr. Hallard, who will now conduct the usual roll call for the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Malhewish. Thank you, members. I'll now go through an alphabetical list of members. If you could please confirm that you are present, and please also confirm that you can see and hear everything. Councillor Bartlett.
Good afternoon. I confirm that I can see and hear everything.
Thank you, Councillor Bartlett. Councillor Bayliss.
I'm once again phoning in, so I can only hear, but I am present.
Thank you, Councillor Bayliss. Councillor Betty.
Good afternoon. I can hear and see everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Betty. Councillor Bolt.
Yes, present. I can see and hear the meeting.
Thank you, Councillor Bolt. Councillor Bradford.
Good afternoon, councillors. Councillor Alan Bradford, representing the North Petherton Ward. I can hear you loud and clear.
Thank you, Councillor Bradford. Councillor Bruce.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, Councillor Bruce, representing Fairfax Ward in Bridgewater. I can hear and see everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bruce. Councillor Caswell.
Good afternoon, councillors. Councillor Mike Caswell. I can clearly hear and see everything.
Thank you, Councillor Caswell. Councillor Clayton.
Hi, good afternoon again. Yes, I can see and hear everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Clayton. Councillor Cordiner.
Yep, I can hear everything.
Thank you, Councillor Cordiner. Are you able to see? Are you on the Teams call or are you on the phone?
I am on the Teams call, but I don't seem to have any kind of video. I can just see people's, you know, pictures.
Okay, but you can hear everybody.
I can hear everybody.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Councillor Cordiner. Councillor Costello.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon. I can see and hear everything.
Thank you, Councillor Costello. Councillor Crowe.
Yes, good afternoon, Councillor by Crowe. I can see and hear everything.
Thank you, Councillor Crowe. Councillor Doddridge.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Councillor Lance Doddridge for Bridgewater Victoria Ward. I can see and hear everything.
Thank you, Councillor Doddridge. Councillor Dyer. Councillor Dyer, do we have Councillor Dyer? No. Okay, Councillor Faith.
Yes, good afternoon, Chairman. Councillor Mike Facey, Burnham-on-Sea North. I can see and hear all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Facey. Councillor Filmer.
Yep, good afternoon, Councillor Bob Filmer, representing Knoll Ward, and I can see and hear the whole meeting.
Thank you, Councillor Filmer. Councillor Finneran.
Good afternoon, Councillor Finneran, Cheddar and Shippen Ward. I can see and hear everything fine, thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Finneran. Councillor Gibson. Do we have Councillor Gibson?
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I'm here. Yeah, thank you. Good afternoon. Yeah, I can see and hear the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gibson. Councillor Gilling.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, Councillor Gilling here, representing the Knoll Ward. I can see and hear everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gilling. Councillor Glassford.
Yes, good afternoon. I can confirm I can see and hear everything.
Thank you, Councillor Glassford. We have apologies from Councillor Godwin Pearson. So, Councillor Granter.
Yes, thank you. Yes, present. I can confirm I can see and hear everything loud and clear. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Granter. Councillor Grimes.
Good afternoon, everybody. Councillor Tony Grimes, representing Barrow and Breen. I confirm I can see and hear everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Grimes. Councillor Harvey.
Yes, I confirm I can hear and see everything, though you are breaking up a little.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Harvey. Councillor Healy, MBE.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Mark Healy. I can confirm I can see and hear everything quite clearly. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Healy. Councillor Hendry.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. Councillor Alistair Hendry, Burnham-on-Sea Central, and yes, I can see and hear everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hendry. Councillor Hayward.
Tony Hayward, Eastover Ward. Yes, I can see and hear everything.
Thank you, Councillor Hayward. Councillor Human.
Councillor Will Human, I can see and hear everything clearly.
Thank you, Councillor Human. Councillor Keane.
Good afternoon, Janet Keane, Highbridge and Burnham Marine. I can see and hear everything clearly. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Keane. Councillor Kingham. Do we have Councillor Kingham? No. Okay. Councillor Levy?
Good afternoon. I confirm I can see and hear everything.
Thank you, Councillor Levy. Councillor Lilly?
Good afternoon, everybody. Yes, I can confirm I can see and hear everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lilly. Leader of Council, Councillor McGinty.
Yep, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. Councillor Duncan McGinty here representing the East Poldham ward, and yes, I can confirm I can see and hear everything.
Thank you, Councillor McGinty. Councillor Matthews.
Yeah, Councillor Alan Matthews representing Highbridge and Burnham Marine. I can see and hear everything.
Thank you, Councillor Matthews. Councillor Mathley.
Councillor Methley for Cheddar and Shipham. Thank you and good afternoon. I can see and hear everything.
Thank you, Councillor Methley. Councillor Murphy.
Good afternoon, Councillor Mike Murphy representing Burnham North. I can see and hear you.
Thank you, Councillor Murphy. Councillor Pay.
Good afternoon, everyone. I can clearly hear and see everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Pay. Councillor Pearce.
Yep, good afternoon. Councillor Cathy Pearce, Westover Ward, Bridgewater. I confirm I can hear and see everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Pearce. Councillor Pay.
Sorry, is that Councillor? Yeah, Councillor Perry?
Councillor Perry, yes.
Yes, thank you. Yes, representing Kings R Ward, I can confirm I can hear and see everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Perry. Councillor Redmond. Do we have Councillor Redmond? No. Okay. In that case, Councillor Revens.
Good afternoon, Councillor Bill Revens, leader of the Lib Dem group representing North Petherton Ward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Revens. Councillor Riches.
Good afternoon, Charlie Riches from Shipham and Cheddar. I can see and hear everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Riches. Councillor Rodriguez.
Good afternoon, all. Diego here for Bridgewater Dunware, and yes, I can see and hear everyone.
Thank you, Councillor Rodriguez. Councillor Mrs. Scott.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. It's Councillor Liz Scott here from Axvale, and I can confirm I can see and hear everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mrs. Scott. Councillor Mrs. Slocum.
Good afternoon, Councillor Jill Slocum, Deputy Leader, representing the Wyndham Ward, Bridgewater. I can confirm I can see and hear everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Slocum. Councillor Smedley.
Yes, Councillor Brown, Smedley, Bridgewater, Westover Ward, leader of the Labour group. I confirm I can see and hear everything, and I've just entered Councillor Redmond's apologies in there as well.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Smedley. Councillor Wong.
Yeah, Councillor Gary Wong, representing Loft Petherton. I can hear and see everyone.
Thank you, Councillor Wong. We have apologies from Councillor Woodman. I will just check. Has Councillor Dyer joined us on the call? No, Councillor Dyer. Councillor Kingham. Oh, okay, thank you, members.
Thank you. And we do have some officers to introduce today. If I can start with Bob Brown, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Bob Brown, Chief Executive. I can clearly see and hear everything.
Thank you. And Doug Bamsey.
Good afternoon, Doug Bamsey, Deputy Chief Executive. I can confirm I can hear and see everything.
Thank you. And Steve Hellard. I know you can.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Steve Hellard, Deputy
Thank you.
Monitoring Officer. I can confirm that I can see.
Thank you. Alison Monteith. I think we've got Alison with us. And Andrew Melhewish.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I can see everything loud and clear. Andrew Melhewish, Democratic Services Manager. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. And I believe there are other officers present observing the meeting today. Thank you. Right, if we move on to the agenda then, can I take apologies, please?
Yes, thank you very much, Chairman. Today we have apologies from Councillors Sue Barber, John Woodman, Graham Godwin Pearson and Lee Redman. I've not had any others notified. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I'll move on to declarations of interest. I have a personal interest as a Somerset County Councillor.
And if I may, Chairman Mark Healy, I've got the same interest as well. Thank you.
And myself, Chairman, Councillor Mike Caswell, also a County Councillor.
Yes, Councillor Evans.
Same as the previous speakers, personal interest as a Somerset County Councillor. Thank you.
Thank you. Any others with us today? Nope. Oh, yes. Councillor Bob Filmer.
Yeah, if I could declare the same interest as a county councillor as well.
Thank you. Any more before I move on? No. Okay, we'll move on then to public speaking. We have one member of the public with us today, Denise Wyatt. Denise, would you like to make your statement now, please?
Hi, sorry, yes, I've just unmuted myself. Right, do you want me to start now?
Yes, please.
Thank you. My name is Denise Wyatt. I'm a member of Somerset Independence, a pressure group and a political party formed a year ago during lockdown to stand up for Somerset residents. Somerset Independence was formed because residents suspected that you councillors were not standing up for them. That is indeed the case with this council's reorganisation that no resident asked for. In fact, in 2007, 82% of them voted against a unitary authority. Yes, 82% against. Somerset Independence wrote to all councillors in Somerset asking them to support a referendum. Over 200 councillors. We also asked the local media to cover our campaign. The local media did. Why did you try to ignore the views of residents who were against what you were doing? Instead of listening properly, you spent public money on shameless PR lies for Stronger Somerset. District councils had a shameless competition between Stronger Somerset and the county's One Somerset. Your PR even quoted our supporter and colleague, Professor Colin Copus. The professor said, you should have a referendum. He told us directly that you never asked him or spoke to him. Suddenly you appear to have listened to our campaign for a referendum for Somerset people. The people of Somerset deserve to know why you want to hear from them when you have previously ignored them. Why the about turn? Is it because you discovered in your rigged consultation when you fixed the questions to suit your agenda, that residents don't want your rotten changes? Not now, and certainly not during the pandemic. I'm sorry to say that you are not even asking the right questions in the referendum. You are only asking questions that suits you, choosing between two rotten options. You are proposing a referendum only between two terrible options. There is not a no change option. There is not a not now option during this pandemic. Just two rotten buckets, two rotten choices between which bucket of manure residents want tipped over their heads. Whether they want the district bucket of manure, Stronger Somerset, or the county's bucket of manure, One Somerset. We are pleased that you now want to vote, but residents deserve to know why and how to proper choice of no change, and more importantly, not now choice during a national emergency. Any new council must reject the Stronger Needle model in favour of the modern committee system, which the people in Sheffield are currently voting on in a referendum. Do it, but only when safe. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for that, Denise. We have an agenda item later in the meeting. If we move on then to item 4, recommendations from the executive and other committees. Item 4.1, local government reorganisation consultation response, and I'll hand over to Councillor Duncan McGinty to start propose. Thank you.
Thank you, members. You'll have before you the recommendation to endorse the submission in response to the government's consultation on the proposals for reform of local government in Somerset, specifically in respect of the One Somerset proposal at our meeting today. I will hand over to Bob Brown in a moment, but before I do so, I will just say that you may be wondering why the consultation response is in respect to the One Somerset proposal, and that is because that's what the government has specifically asked us so to do. So we have with us today representatives from PA Consulting, who I believe will give a short presentation on their findings, but without further ado, I commend the recommendation to Council and hand over to the Chief Executive. Thank you.
Sorry, could I just confirm that seconded by Councillor Slocum?
That is seconded, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, carry on, Bob, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, members. This matters before you because, as the leader has set out, the government consultation process specifically requires us to be a key consultee on the One Somerset proposal. So this is not an opportunity for us to improve on or embellish our own bid. This is a specific requirement for us to comment on and put a response to the One Somerset proposal, hence the reason for the terms in which this report is written. I'll make some introductory remarks and just set out the scene for the report. The detail of the responses are contained in the report, and the reasons for those responses are set out quite clearly. At the end of the report, you will see that we've appended a report by PA Consulting, who are here with us today, and will do a short presentation and allow for some questions to be asked if you have any, and I'll take questions as well on the substance of the report that is before you. So just by means of introduction, the purpose of the report is obviously we have to have a response to the government by the 19th of April when the consultation exercise is completed. The Secretary of State has 3 criteria by which he wishes to judge the proposals that are before him. So are the proposals likely to improve government and service delivery across the area? Does it command a good deal of local support in the round? And thirdly, do the proposals have a credible geography? And the report itself then sets out some specific responses to questions that have been raised that have been raised by the Secretary of State, and which he wishes a specific consultation responses to be provided, particularly by ourselves, but also by anyone else who would like to respond to the consultation process. So initially, the question is around, do the proposals improve council services? And we've got a number of questions, 1A to C, in response to that. But in essence, our response is saying that whilst the county and the One Somerset proposal looks to make savings and to bring all the councils together, our position is that it doesn't actually propose reform of services or changes to services. It is simply a proposal that by bringing all the councils together, improvements can be made and savings can be made, and efficiencies will just be drawn out by one authority and one body being able to make decisions as opposed to the 5 that currently exist. And our position is that actually there's an opportunity here to reform the services when local government reorganisation takes place, and to propose changes to those services that can have long-term impacts and benefits for the recipients of those services as they are designed. So our position is that this doesn't go far enough. And secondly, that in terms of the savings made, they are all predicated on the basis that those savings will come from senior management savings from bringing the organisations together, and don't look at any other systemic savings or any systemic changes in service and provision that can be made by doing things differently. So it's that whole doing things differently approach that we're saying doesn't go far enough in terms of the One Somerset approach. And thirdly, in terms of local provision, we suggest that actually the proposal could go much further in terms of engaging local communities, local parish councils, and other organisations in devolving powers down, rather than it just being through local community networks and giving the powers to the new councillors in any new organisation to make those decisions locally, that actually there's a key and negotiated devolution that could take place that would devolve powers down, not just around current parish services, but also wider than that in terms of tackling and preventing some of the key issues around adult social care and other areas. So there's a missed opportunity there that we think that the One Somerset proposals have missed out. So if we move on to the geography, does it have a credible geography? Obviously, our position is that it's too big and it's too remote from the communities it's served. And I think that's a key argument for us to say that actually, if you have a large single unitary like this, it is distance from the communities that it serves, and the proposals for local council networks and the other devolution doesn't go far enough to address those, and that it would be the second largest unitary authority in the country, and on that basis would be too large in terms of its credible geography. Finally, in terms of does it have widespread support, we'd say that the evidence provided in One Somerset doesn't suggest that is the case. There's a number of references to support from organisations and members, but doesn't really substantiate that in terms of any exercise that's been taken or give any statistics as to any of their consultation exercises. We've made it abundantly clear that we took out an Ipsos Mori poll, which is a full independent poll, and the exercise that Stronger Somerset did demonstrates that actually there is a lack of widespread support for the One Somerset proposal, with only 15% of those responding saying that they supported One Somerset. So on that basis, we think that this should be brought to the Secretary of State's attention so he realises that actually in the round, this doesn't have the support that we think it does. So in terms of finally saying that the response that's being put before you is a joint response from all 4 districts. We've worked collectively together to make sure that we have a single, consistent and concerted response to One Somerset that's about being constructive in the way that we respond to that. So it's not about criticising service failure. It is pointing out that actually there are some areas of service underperformance in the county council, and pointing out that in those circumstances actually reform or change is not proposed by the county in dealing with some of those areas, which we think it should be. And that's not a criticism of staff. It is just to point out that those objective and independent organisations that assess those performance of county have made those judgments, and we think that they need to be addressed within the overall proposal for any new authority that comes about. In terms of how we've got to some of these judgments, we've obviously been supported by a team at the Stronger Somerset programme team, but we have enlisted specific adult and children's services support. You've seen the specialists that we've brought, you know their credibility and their qualifications, so we think we've got some good quality support, and that gives credibility to the responses that we've provided you here with. I'll leave it there and say that we're prepared to answer any questions. But the last item that was appended to the report is the PA analysis of the One Somerset proposal, and I'll hand over to Luke and his team now to take you through that and also give you some background as to who PA are as an organisation and why they come with the great credibility that they do. So without further ado, I'll hand over to Luke.
Thank you. Good afternoon, councillors. So just briefly by way of introduction, my name's Luke Muir, I work for PA. A number of you may recognise me. I've had the opportunity to speak with you all before. I've been supporting the Stronger Somerset programme since April of last year. And I'm part of our local government team at PA. I've got a colleague of ours with me who I will ask to introduce herself so you can see her.
Hi, my name's Claire Tew. I've also been involved in the Stronger Somerset programme throughout last year. I'm one of PA's business case experts, and so supporting the case overall.
Thanks, Claire. So I've got a brief presentation to give you. So if you bear with me while I share the slides, then I will do that. And I'm aware that at the start of the meeting in the roll call, I heard that some people are phoning in. So what I'll do is, as I talk through the slides, I'll do my best to summarise them reasonably briefly so that people on the phone can follow along as well. Claire, could you tell me when you can see that?
Yep, see the map.
Right. Thank you. So in terms of our agenda for speaking to you this afternoon, we'll give you a brief introduction of our organisation and credentials, remind you of our approach to this report. I'll quickly run through the key findings and then open up to questions on our analysis that you may well have. And I will try and do this all reasonably briefly so that we leave enough time for questions and the rest of the agenda as well. So in terms of PA Consulting, we're an innovation transformation consultancy. So we're 3,200 people, so a reasonably significant size. And a big part of our work has a public sector focus to it. And so that includes all areas of government, the National Health Service, policing, all central government departments, higher education, and importantly, obviously, for this piece of work, local government as well. That local government experience includes recently working with more than 25 different local authorities, and the scope of those projects really vary from adult social care change programs. We do local government reorganisations. We deliver a number of services around technology-enabled care, and we've also recently done several projects supporting MHCLG during the pandemic in terms of recovery. The organisation has a wide range of capabilities, but particularly relevant to this piece of work is around organisational design, strategy and business cases, data and analytics, culture change, and digital and care technology. In terms of our expertise in public sector business cases, so we've got extensive expertise in that and are widely recognised for that. So over the last 3 years, we've supported business cases with a value of more than £50 billion, and that includes some of the largest business case projects in the country, including infrastructure and change programs that you would have heard about. So we were the first consultancy to become accredited to train in Treasury's Better Business Case qualification. So that means we're certified to go into other organisations and train them on how to best apply Treasury's Green Book and 5-case model guidance. So in our work, we support all aspects of business case processes, and that includes developing business cases, obviously with clients, but also we're regularly brought in to assure and review business cases, as we have been asked to do here. And we also set up business case centres of excellence in client organisations where they develop and process a large number of business cases to increase their own capability to do that. And across all of this, we apply the government's Green Book and 5-case model guidance. And to do that, we have an extensive client list that you would expect for that level of work. And all of that is to say that we've brought that level of expertise and experience into our analysis of the One Somerset case and the report that we've set out before you. So in terms of our approach to the report, obviously it analyses the One Somerset business case, but that's to say that it doesn't look at some of the wider materials that One Somerset have produced in support of that business case. Obviously, it's commissioned by the districts, by the 4 districts, to inform the current response to the consultation process. And we do note in the document that we've been supporting the district councils to prepare the Stronger Somerset business case last year, so we're fully transparent with that. In terms of our methodology for this report, our work has been focused mainly on a desktop review of the business case itself. We've referred to a range of other documents and data sources where those are particularly informative, and we've included a list of the sorts of things that we've looked at as part of that and then referenced those in the document. And then we've had a small number of conversations with some of the Stronger Somerset team around particular areas of expertise, and again, those are all listed in the document. And then, as Bob Brown talked about, our structure, obviously we provide an executive summary, which I will talk you through in a second. and then we look at the level of evidence and analysis included in the case, and then the rest of the document is structured by the 3 tests that MHCLG and the Secretary of State have set out, by which he and they will appraise the 2 different proposals that have been submitted for the future local government in Somerset. So, in terms of our key findings, our first key finding was that we found that the case doesn't set out a comprehensive long-term case in terms of improving the local area. So the focus of it is really about the immediate reorganisation of local government structures. So going from the 5 organisations that exist currently to 1 single county unitary. And that's where, as a result, that's where the financial analysis is focused on that immediate integration. And there isn't financial analysis on things that go beyond that. So things like the future operating model that you would expect, any potential costing or benefits around service reform and so forth. And it also means that for us, the case takes us starts in the wrong place. In any organisation redesign work that we do at PA, the starting point for that thinking is to think about, well, what outcomes does the organisation want to achieve? How does it want to deliver services in order to achieve those outcomes? And as a result of that, what is the right organisational structure to best support and enable those outcomes and services? But I think the One Somerset case didn't connect the reorganisation to that longer term question about outcomes and service reform, and as a result really missed an opportunity to set out how they would anticipate services being improved in a single county unitary model, and how that enables those services to be improved. The second finding we had was that, and it really follows on from the first, is that the case describes a one-off set of financial benefits, but doesn't really look to make a case for a financially sustainable future for local government in Somerset. So the financial analysis that's there goes out 5 years and projects a small deficit at the end of those 5 years, and that's been substantially reduced from what it would have been normally by the dividend that you get, the financial dividend that you get from taking 5 organisations and placing those into 1. But beyond that, the case doesn't look to actually change the trajectory of local government spending beyond that. So it doesn't look at reform of key services like adults or children's services. And as a result, that one-off financial dividend gets quickly swallowed up by the fact that the trajectory, the rate of spending will remain the same beyond that. So as a result, beyond that point, the case doesn't look to see how you would make local government sustainable in the long term, and simply looks at the financial benefit of reorganisation itself. Thirdly, we found that the case for a business case that of such local importance, and to do, regarding the critical services that local government delivers and the size of the budgets that local government is in charge of in Somerset, that there was a lack of analysis and evidence given that's commensurate to the significance of that business case. So the case does set out a broad ambition right up front of improving services and improving outcomes, but then we didn't find any plans or costs or implementation detail about how those services would actually be improved. So as a result, the scope that's set out by that first aim and ambition isn't then met by the rest of the business case. There isn't evidence to suggest how the organisation plans to get to its vision. We found that the modelling was overly simplistic, and that the assumptions behind the financial modelling are not stated in full, which makes it difficult to analyse them and interrogate them properly. In terms of the qualitative analysis done in the document, we found that the framework which the analysis is set out against isn't well defined, and the contents of the analysis isn't always impartial in analysing the benefits of particular options against each of the success factors. We also found that the case makes a strong argument for unitary government in a sense, but often conflates an argument for unitary government in Somerset with an argument for a single unitary government in Somerset, rather than thinking about, well, what number of unitary governments might work best. Our fourth finding was that we found that the case didn't really seem to look to respond to challenges that Somerset faces. So we found that there's a lack of detailed analysis of some of the current challenges that Somerset residents face, and really some of the key reforms that would be required in order to address those. So, we've included some examples on it in our report, but we found, for example, that the analysis around educational attainment in Somerset quite thin, or analysis about the rates of the rate at which young people go on to university versus national averages, for example. And then in terms of services, Bob Brown has already talked about, we didn't find a description of how One Somerset would propose to continue the journey of improvement that children's services are on at the moment, and why the single unitary particularly enables that journey to carry on and be successful. And similarly, in adult services, we didn't find detail about how the service intends to deal with the significant demographic pressures that we know that that all adult social services are facing across the country. Our fifth key finding was, and Bob Brown's talked about this, so I'll be quick on this, is that we found that the single unitary, as outlined, risks becoming disconnected from the people and places it serves. So the number of councillors that are proposed in the document that we analysed is 100, and that leaves average representation per councillor at a little over 5,500 people per councillor. So that's around 1,500 more than the England average at the moment for councillors, and boundaries as a result get aggregated upwards and become larger, and so it makes it more difficult to hear nuanced local voice and increases the workload of councillors, as you would all know. And then regarding local support, for our sixth finding, we didn't find the evidence and detail to support the claims that are made about having local support. So, for example, there's phrases like a groundswell or an upswell in town and parish council support, but then no listing of which towns and parishes that refers to, or a kind of percentages of towns and parishes that are supporting. Similarly, with regards to MPs, there was a statement about the majority of MPs supporting the case, for example, but then no listing of who those are or aren't. So it makes it very difficult to assess those statements of support, and I think leaves them as assertions. So I will leave it there and open up to questions.
Thank you for that. I think that's very informative. Councillor Brian Smedley, please.
Yes, I'd like to thank them for the presentation there, and to support the council in its commitment to the Stronger Somerset position and the way we've taken it forward since September, when we all voted for it. We all voted unanimously for this. We voted 39-0, in fact. That's across party, and it was the strongest majority across Somerset, and across Somerset all the districts support this, and councillors everywhere backed this model over the One Somerset model by some 3 to 1. So I think we've got the right outcome to this. I think the One Somerset model would be disastrous. I think it might be a sensible model only in terms of test match cricket or some county cricket tournament where your loyalties may have a different approach. But in terms of recognising modern local government, we know we want something smaller, more connected to the people, and less remote. The One Somerset model is clearly a worse service delivery model, and it's a system of large remote constituencies with large, feudal grandees who people don't know when they're electing them at best of times. So I think the report's very good. I think we should support this as has been put in front of us, and very happy to support that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Duncan McGuinty, Leader of Council.
Yes, thank you very much, Chairman. I thank Councillor Smedley for his words. I just wanted to say, by way of clarification, I noticed that there have been a few questions in the chat box on the right from members of the public who are present. If they'd like to put those questions in writing to Andrew Mel-Hewish, we will ensure that they are asked and responded to. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions, members? Councillor Bill Revens.
Thank you very much. I think we'll find a considerable amount of unanimity on this this one, as well as the previous debates we've had on this topic. Just remind people of what I said earlier. Why now? Why on earth are we doing this during a pandemic? But we are where we are, and we need a council that's big enough to cope, but small enough to care. And I think the Stronger Somerset proposals embody that most effectively. What I dislike in the One Somerset proposals are things like the local community networks. We've got incredibly vague, and I suspect what we will see, and I know what has happened in other areas such as Dorset and Wiltshire, is the outcome has been a lot less than what has been promised when the reality has come through. It's undemocratic seeing a massive reduction in the number of councillors that are representing communities. They'll be far more remote from the people that they represent. And I echo what we see in this report and thoroughly endorse it. This is the One Somerset proposal is for a continuity Somerset County Council, just taking over district council services rather than a rethinking of how we deliver local council services to be most effective and most efficient for local communities. And I wholeheartedly support this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor McGuinty again.
Yes, thank you very much, Chairman. I just wanted to remind everybody that this is hopefully to approve the critique of the One Somerset proposal as requested by the government, and to in closing perhaps say thank you very much to PA for the work that they did and the astute way in which they came to their conclusions, all of which I think all of us will support in moving forward to the vote. Thank you.
Thank you. There being no other hands up or comments in the chat, I will move to the vote then. I think we can probably do this with abstentions or voting against. Anybody wish to vote against or abstain, please?
Chairman, this is Mike Facey.
Yep. Councillor Facey.
I was attacked by Openreach outside, Chairman. They demolished my broadband, just got back in. So you'll have to count me out, Chairman.
Okay, thank you for that information. Anybody against or abstain? I think it's appropriate that I abstain from this vote, so I think I'm the only one. I'll go back to Andrew then, please.
Thank you very much, Chairman and members. So agenda item 4.1, the consultation on local government reform and the response to the One Somerset proposal. Members, obviously one member unable to vote due to technical problems, one abstention on the recommendation to endorse the submission of the response to the consultation to the Secretary of State is carried by a majority show of hands. So thank you very much for that, members.
Thank you. Moving on then to item 4.2, local referendum on the future of local government in Somerset. Hand over to Councillor Duncan McGuinty again for this one, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Chairman. I shall be as brief as I possibly can. In light of the Secretary of State's letter received on the evening of the 12th of April and the specific and detailed legal issues raised therein, it is necessary to obtain further legal advice by means of leading counsel's opinion to ensure members have full and thorough legal advice when reaching their decision on such a significant issue. Therefore, in relation to the proposed council decisions to hold a local referendum on the proposals for local government reorganisation in Somerset, this item should be deferred and the meeting adjourned to a future date to consider the matter further with the benefit of specific legal advice. And I make that proposal, Chairman.
Thank you. Could I have a seconder for that, please? Councillor Slocum.
Yes, I am happy to second that recommendation. Thank you.
So that recommendation has been proposed and seconded. Any debate on that, members, before we take the vote? No, then anybody wishing to abstain or vote against that proposal, please? No, over to you, Andrew, I think. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairman and members. And so as there have been no abstentions, no one against, the recommendation that was proposed and seconded to adjourn the meeting is unanimously carried. So the meeting will be adjourned and reconvened at a date to be notified to members in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. And just checking, Andrew, there's no further business?
Correct, Chairman. There is no further business to be conducted at this meeting today. So over to you to.
Thank you. Could I just thank all members for attending today then, and thank you very much. Meeting closed.